We've had a very big launch in February. We did $35,000. Phoenix right now has, I believe, we have around 50 or 60 people already inside of the community.
I've seen and witnessed so many people going through in my daily life around me, friends, family members, colleagues. We all share a little bit of something, that these hidden wounds that no one sees. And I am an expert in my field, but I'm definitely not an expert in your field. And I'm very grateful for it, because you felt immediately like the right person. You got exactly what I was doing, which is so important in my work.
What are the next goals?
For me, my goal, and
Welcome to this video. If you made it, I'm really excited. It's a very special day here because we have Caroline Middelsdorf. She's very credible. She's a psychologist, a coach, and my lovely client. We've been working together for the past 6 months, I believe now, 5-6 months-ish. And over the past few months, we've built her program, Phoenix, through which she helps people suffering through trauma in 90 days. We've had a very big launch in February. We did $35,000, and we're on a very beautiful track to helping more people. So today I've invited her here. Honestly, this is not very scripted, as you can tell. The whole purpose of this video is really to just share what an info business is like, to share a little bit more about Caroline, her journey, her experience, and of course what it was like working together. So with that being said, Caroline, I'd like to give you the word here. Please tell us a little bit about yourself, what you've been doing, and a little bit more about Phoenix.
Thanks, Vincent, for that lovely introduction. I'm happy that I can be here with you, and I love working together. I need to start with that. I am a psychologist and coach, as you said, and I started my own journey based basically on my own healing journey and the people that I worked with for a very, very long time. I brought a topic onto social media that's close to my own heart. It's a passion project, and it's something that's very, very new. Trauma. Some people always said, like, you cannot bring it on social media. I said, yes, you can. You have to. It's something that we all go through in different shapes and forms. And that's how I started my social media journey. And along the way, I was always in the back of my mind thinking, I want to help more people just beyond my usual sessions, my small, let's say, master classes. I wanted more. And I am an expert in my field, but I'm definitely not an expert in your field. And our, like, let's say, social media paths crossed each other, and I'm very grateful for it, because you felt immediately like the right person. You got exactly what I was doing, which is so important in my work, to understand what I'm doing, why I'm doing this, with a huge purpose behind it, and you're purpose driven as well. You understand the mental health niche, the right wording, the way to actually help people. I think that's my mission, and you are a little bit my support in that way. So we're a bit of a team. That's how I see it, and you've really helped me to make a small dream come true of helping more people with Phoenix. So that's the trauma healing program we have built together over the last few months. It was a lot of work, and you have taken and supported me through the highs and lows.
We'll get to that in a bit. It was a really fun journey, though. Thank you. For sure. No, awesome. Thank you. So I think one thing I find really interesting with your story, of course, I can consider you now having a beautiful info business, but at the very start, I guess you were just like others probably watching this video, a creator. And you mentioned how you started your journey with, hey, you know what? I'm going to share something online. Could you tell a little bit more how that started? Because you were a psychologist, you were doing sessions. What really made you share online? I think that's really interesting to highlight here.
The interesting part, yes, I'm a psychologist for decades by now, but I always thought, you have to also do and practice what you preach. And that means exposing yourself into the unknown, into the uncomfortable. And social media and being, let's say, in front of a camera and doing small videos, hearing my own voice was something that caused me always self-doubt, anxiety, and uncomfortableness. So there was an element, let's say, of fear of judgment around it. And I was like, you know what, Caroline, you have to also walk the path yourself. So it was a personal journey of part of my own, let's say,
kind of like your embodiment journey in a way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I wanted, and that was another thing, to reach more people with a topic that I've been through, and I've seen and witnessed so many people going through in my daily life around me, friends, family members, colleagues. We all share a little bit of something, that these hidden wounds that no one sees. And I thought, you know what, people need to know. And if I reach one person through a video that I'm uncomfortable in, but I'm sharing it really just from a genuine, authentic point of view, how I see it in my life, how I experienced it, or how I see other people doing it. If I help one person, then I feel already,
That's beautiful. Yeah.
fulfilled. And that's how my journey started.
And I really felt that with you, actually. Like, I think you mentioned it also just now, but one thing that a lot of people know about me is I put my heart and soul into everything I do, because at the end of the day, what's the point if we're not able to support and help others? And I think that's a really cool thing I felt with you from the start, and we really aligned well on that. So when you started posting, I know you told me you grew really fast online, but the question was, what do I do with this? How do I take it from there? So before we actually start with Phoenix, I know you had your mini course.
Yeah.
Could you tell a little bit more about like how you got started into your journey, in this case, selling information online and helping people as a coach? I'm very curious to hear that.
Well, I thought, because I have the coaching business and I'm a therapist and also psychologist, so I was like having the one-on-one sessions, but people sometimes don't have the time or the resources for waiting lists, for waiting for a session, or can also not support or fund the whole let's say healing journey with me one-on-one. And I always felt like, but I wish they had at least something they could start with, something that stops them from spiraling down so that they can help themselves. I think it's all about empowerment for me and support. And that's why the mini course started, just as small resources, practical tips that you can use in your daily life and continue to do so. These small things can make a difference, and you can try that yourself.
Mm-hmm. And for everyone watching, what we're referring to here is Caroline's mini course, How to Start Your Healing Journey. It was a very, very beautifully well recorded. I watched it myself too. I've seen the content, and it really shows the journey from starting your own trauma healing journey. And before we actually started working together, I know you were seeing quite some success with the mini course. But as we got started, there was a point where I believe you were. I remember you told me about it. It's like, where do I take this? So could you tell me a little bit more about where you were right before we started? What did it look like for you, and what was the biggest challenges you were facing back then for your coaching business?
For the coaching business, I had the mini course, of course, and my one-on-one sessions, but it was one-on-one sessions can be very time consuming, plus content creation, plus, it becomes quite a lot. So it also, again, I need to practice what I preach. There's also a level of, there's also content creator burnout, which is real, by the way. And same applies also to therapists, coaches around the world. Self-care is an important thing. So I was thinking in two lines. How can I support people more also personally? That's something that's so important to me, that I'm involved in every individual's like healing journey, at least from a physical, that they can ask me questions, that I can jump in if needed, give my expertise in, let's say, a group setting, as for example. But I had no idea how to do this, because that's what was lacking in the mini course. The mini course is great if you want to start your healing journey, but for the deeper healing, you need to have someone that guides you. And that I wanted that. So that's where we were. At the mini course was really successful and still is, but again, for the deeper work, I needed more and needed support. And that's how our path was crossing at the right time. I wanted to take a step back, focus on content creation, the group, and helping as much as I can, plus self-care, of course. I have a young child, so I need also a bit of family time as well. Content creation is a 24/7 thing. So I need to do this so that I can basically, like a plane goes down situation, I need to be oxygen masked on and care for myself so that I can help everyone else. And that's the important part here. And that's where you come in.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think a beautiful part to also highlight this is what it sounded like to me is that you were at a point where, okay, I've seen some success with this. I'm able to help people. But people need more help from me. This is a very typical point. It's like, okay, what offer do we go for now? Second, I'm definitely not the expert in the info field. What direction do I take it? So it sounded like another thing you were really challenged by was kind of like figuring out what right steps to take there. And it also seemed like a big thing was definitely, hey, okay, I need a bit of a hand here who can support me during the journey. Would you say there was anything else along that phase that was quite challenging for you aside from what I just mentioned?
it becomes very overwhelming. So having
Yep.
someone who has a bit of, because when you run your own, let's say, platform, you want to be present everywhere, and you want to do a lot of projects, and you want to hear the people, you want, your basically your community to feel heard, but it can incredibly be so overwhelming. And that's where your structure helped me so much, your expertise of like, okay, this makes sense, this doesn't make sense, it's not possible to do all at once, and you help me
Yeah.
structure it.
I remember we talked about that a lot. Yeah, at the start, there were so many ideas.
That's where I love it. That's the beauty also of working with the right person and the right team. I think you need to get each other, but it's also
Definitely.
a good energy flow and hearing each other and making visions. We all have ideas, but making them come true and follow through, it's totally a different way and the next step. And that's what you did. I had a vision and maybe a dream or a mission, but it would have stayed that way if you're stuck in overwhelm and you don't know how
And you're
to
not
do
taking the
it.
right actions exactly.
So you helped me with that. So you're making actually my mission, my dream, my purpose come true, and that's the beautiful part.
Thank you so much for that. And I think that's definitely would describe well where you were at. I think I remember clearly that it was okay. I want to build this entire platform. Now, actually, you have your podcast as well. So that's one of the few things that also came true, which is incredible. By the way, if you're watching this, please have a listen to Caroline's podcast. It is beautiful. It's incredible. Every time I watch it, I'm like, okay, wow,
Thank
I've
you.
also personally, and this is a bit of a personal share here, but I think something really worth sharing is I've also been through my own trauma healing journey. So, what we're doing here together in a way, and I just want to say thank you again also for allowing me into this journey with you, because it's also been a way of self healing for myself. It's been beautiful to build this all out. So, let's take a little bit of a look at before we go into Phoenix, because I think it's very exciting to talk about that one. This is a fun question. I think this revolves back around to when we got started. What was your initial expectation that we got started? I remember finding the right partner is a really kind of like whoa big thing, not only for you, but could you share a little bit about that? I think that's fun to share.
It's actually a good question, because before we dove in, I had interviewed lots of people and they were all sharing similar things, but you got me. You were the only one who got the whole, and that's based on your expertise, but also your own journey. You got the everything that I wanted to do. My expectation, did I go with a lot of expectation? I was a bit worried where it would go. I think the thing is, it's like allowing not that you allow a baby to
No,
walk,
no, 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 but it is.
a little bit leaving the nest is like you're letting go of something that I've obviously built over years and time and put my heart and soul into it. And it's a bit like your own baby, your platform, your business, it's your work, it's you, it's a part of me, an extension a little bit of my inner self in the business. And that's why the choice of the right person is so important. I think I was worried. How would it go? Would we be able to pull this off even? Because it feels like climbing Mount Everest.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's like I have this idea to build a
Yeah,
program, but what platform? What do I
yeah,
even make the course around? How do I even get people to figure out that it's there? How will they even buy it, if anything, right? Yeah.
yeah. So I was like, really, it's really a trust also.
Hmm.
Um, I had no idea what platform to use. I had no clue. And you were like very much, and that's what I like. You were so transparent. You're like, this is for this, Caroline, and this is what we're going to do. You picked me up exactly in moments of doubt. You took the time to jump on calls whenever needed. I think that was the most
Yeah.
important time. This is a very worrying time when your kid is leaving the nest in a way.
Hmm.
So you supported me through it, and that was great. I think I was more worried, would this actually be able to pull off in also such a short, quote
Short
unquote,
time.
time span? That's the other thing.
Yeah, no, for sure. And for a little bit of context
Quality.
here, we're
I think
gonna.
quality is also super important to mention here, because
Hmm.
it's such an important thing to me that it's valuable, it's good quality, that the people get the best and the most out of it. And with the wrong, let's say, team, it can, I'm not saying it will, but it can, at least in my brand, go maybe the wrong direction and
Yeah.
represent you as a brand and as a person, a personal brand, your business a bit the wrong way. But you helped me along this way, so that my worries were absolutely
That's
taken.
awesome. Thank you. I think what you're hearing from you is here is if you're ever in a situation where you're looking for support with your info business, whether it's through the right mentorship or coaching, or whether it's partnering with a growth operator, it's really important that you find someone who not only has the tactical skill set, but also actually truly understands the direction you're going into and really has alignment. And can you share a little bit more about this? I know you had spoken to a lot of people. What was it exactly that made you feel that alignment? I think it's important for others to also understand how to look for that, because it's not an easy step.
That's true. But a lot of people obviously say maybe similar things even, but it's
You mean like offer wise, right?
offer wise. But that's for me, I think it also, if I always think midterm, long term, I want to create something. It's a trust thing. It's an I get what you're doing kind of business. It's a listening to each other. You have that skill. You listened to, okay, this is what I would like, what I envision, but you also said the right things. You understand the mental health space, for example, or the coaching space really well. Having walked your own path in some ways, but you also came across to me, and that's really was an inner feeling of like, okay, you know what you're talking about, and if there's a question, you could answer it with a clear why or a clear how to. You broke it down to me, even if I didn't understand it, like ton of times.
I love doing that, honestly. I love nerding out about it, so it was never a big deal. I was always happy to explain a bit more.
But that helps me because
Yep.
I am obviously, and that's not a secret, I am a different generation, and the platform can also be incredibly overwhelming with everything
Yeah.
there is. And
And there's a lot of links, tools,
Exactly.
different systems behind it to make it work well.
Yeah. And I would have never gotten that. So it was for me incredibly helpful that you did not make me feel also, walking in the dark, or I did not feel ever stupid. It was like, no, Caroline, I got this. I'll explain it to you, but I got it anyway. So there was basically two
Two-way
layers.
street. Yeah.
It was like, I get it, but I also know you want to understand it. I'm not keeping this as a secret or as a form of authority over you. I felt we were always, and that's what you do and how you make me feel in the business. We are a team in this, and it's a together. And that's for me a way better way of working long term together. It's a good atmosphere.
Yeah, and it's incredibly important for me too, because at the end of the day, and this is my philosophy with how I approach anything, but particularly when we're building an info business, at the end of the day, we're serving, of course, ourselves. We're being able to build what we love, but it's people we're serving. And when creation of energy, and I know it's going to sound a little bit waffly, but when you're putting two energies together to build something beautiful, people will feel what is created out of that. And it's not only about creating just a positive atmosphere. Of course, between the two of us working together, that's an absolute non-negotiable. But at the end of the day, I know for a fact that's what will end up making people happy and giving them a really great experience. So thank you for sharing that. With that being said, I want to talk a little bit about Phoenix. Phoenix, for everyone listening, as I said earlier, it's Caroline's, I'd say, flagship offer currently. It is her 90-day intense trauma healing program. And it is incredibly powerful. I've personally also went through the course content. We built it together. This is not biased at all. I promise it's a really, really powerful course. And Caroline, could you share a little bit more about how that journey went? Because it has been a fun one.
Oh my God. I think Murphy's Law applies here. Everything that can go wrong will go wrong. But you also pushed through that together. It was
Yeah.
an incredible journey. I think already I thought we had everything planned out, right? I mean,
We factually did have everything
we
planned
did
out.
have everything planned out, and I found I had this idea and thought, to make it even better, let's bring a professional video photographer. I think the term-
Videographer.
videographer into the mix to film also the course content, but that went unfortunately absolutely wrong. We filmed in a different country, so I flew all the way to Germany, set it up in a beautiful setting, but then the the expert was unfortunately overwhelmed with the work, so couldn't do it. It was a mess of files on the computer. We couldn't find the course content anymore that has been filmed for a whole week straight. I think I didn't sleep. In that
We were both up like crazy. And mind you all, this was the week before Christmas.
I know, yeah, true. Oh my God.
Oh, God.
It was such a ride. It was probably on a stress level, the most stressful period I've had in a while,
Well, yeah.
because we've planned this out, we've mapped this out weeks beforehand. I've structured.
We scripted, we structured everything. The scripts were ready. Yeah.
You've been involved. We had meetings, the three of us, with the guy
The
who.
videographer. Yeah.
You were super involved, and I was like pushing through, and we wanted to finish this before Christmas.
Yeah, before the launch,
Yeah,
actually.
exactly.
We were planning to have a lot of the content out before the launch to make sure
Exactly.
that the people who joined the program. Actually, I can give a bit of context for what we're talking about here, just to make the viewers understand. Basically, what happened is we had prepared for a pre-launch with the program. A pre-launch being whereby people get early access to it, get access to the content, to make sure this pre-launch would actually proceed according to plan. We made sure we scripted, had all the content, had everything ready. The landing pages were good. Everything looked great. But, the content that we needed to deliver to our clients, there was a little bit of a hiccup. A week before the actual launch, the videographer wasn't able to deliver the footages or the edited files, and we all went into a slight panic mode. Now, happily, no one got negatively impacted by this, thankfully. But yeah, that was indeed a really fun journey. What essentially ended up happening is, well, actually, how about you tell the story, Caroline? What ended up happening? I think that's fun.
Yes, it's like it was really. I cannot even say it. I'm not gonna lie. It was really an emergency kind of moment because everything
Yeah,
was set up. The launch date was the pre-launch date was there. People
people were
were
ready.
ready. They wanted. I mean, we wanted to provide them. I think that was the most important thing. Something before Christmas, because we know that this is a rough time. Christmas, New Year's,
Yeah.
in January period, and so well, we were all set. But then you had this great idea of like, wait a minute. Um, let's bring in someone else. I have someone
Yeah.
who could help out. So we got actually I physically went and got the hard drive
With the files.
and
Oh
files,
my.
and we
And
left.
they were unorganized.
It was incredible. I spent hours trying to organize it. You tried to organize it. It was hours extra. I think that's the unfortunate part. We
Yeah.
spent our Christmas,
A
we spent
lot of
our
time.
New Year's uh, working
Organ.
where everyone else had a Christmas, so I still feel terrible about it. But we pushed through, and you helped, and that's where I was like, again, you were like, in my panic mode, you were like jumping in as the basically firefighter of like, no, let's just,
I still remember calling you like middle or like 10 p.m. Caroline, let's take a breath. I got you. This is
yeah.
what we're gonna do. Here's the priority. Here's how we're gonna deliver. Don't worry, it's gonna be okay. And yeah, ooh, that was a fun little period.
I was terrible. I remember one time when before everything, and I realized how, in what kind of mud we're in what kind of overwhelmed, in unorganized situation. I just sobbed away. I was like, oh my God, is the whole course not gonna happen? All the
Yeah.
effort
There
we.
was a moment there. And for context, everyone, this is typically not how these launches go. Just want to say that. We always plan everything ahead, and typically things go perfectly fine. The challenge here was that the third party involved didn't end up delivering one of the most important parts. But with that all being said, a little bit of a chaos, it ended up becoming an incredibly beautiful product and launch, because today we're on the 20th of March. We're actually a week or 2 weeks before our second launch. And Carolyn, I'd love for you to tell us a little bit more about what's happening inside of Phoenix today.
Phoenix has become a wonderful community. I'm actually surprised how involved people are in the community. Meaning we're literally sharing a lot of, yeah, wins. Wins would be in mental space. Meaning like I have hit a milestone. I'm healing. I've noticed things are changing inside of me. And for a lot of people, it's like setting boundaries. It's like expressing emotions.
Things that they could never do before.
Speaking, and that's another part that is so wonderful about the community and the group sessions we have live. There's a lot of people who would normally not trust, who would maybe not want to speak in front of others. So there's also an anxiety element in it, and people start through that welcoming space that's created not just by me. It's really the community, the wonderful people that are in it. They created a safe space.
That was our goal too.
Open up, and that's the beautiful part. We wanted this, and it's really happening. It's becoming a beautiful place where people walk hand in hand, extend the hand to each other and say, I got you, like you did to me. In a different way, they're like, I got you, I have been through the same. They share, they support each other, they give a glimpse of and share a bit of their life or what they're really struggling with. So there's emotional connection, and between people, emotional intimacy. That's not romantic. It's really about the genuine connection between people. That is already a huge part of an element of the healing of I can find people I can connect with, trust, who get me, who understand me, who do not misunderstand me. That's something that people with trauma
Exactly.
struggle a lot with. So, and incredibly, I'm grateful for that they benefit from the practices, because we've really put in the work, from all the somatic work to inner child healing. We work with trauma processing practices that really seem to work. So, I mean, I've experienced it, but I never thought this would work in a group setting, and it does. So all of these things, and that's the feedback that I rely on, is happening, and thanks to Phoenix.
Yep, that's definitely the case. And I think it's beautiful to see that Phoenix exists out of a course, it exists out of live sessions, and we have a community to it. And I know that for a trauma niche, it is incredibly difficult to just share. And I want to say congratulations, Caroline, because yes, we built it together, but this is you. This is what you always wanted. It's your energy that you've poured into it. And I'm very proud that we built this together. That's really awesome. So with that being said, Phoenix right now has, I believe we have around 50 or 60 people already inside of the community. And I'd love to hear from you, actually. What are the next goals for Phoenix? What are the next goals for you? Where do you see yourself taking it in the next year?
For me, my goal, and I'm very wary, but I'm also know that you need to speak now. That's I spoke to a manifestation coach. She said you need to say your number, and it's not about numbers. For me, it's about helping the people. And my dream, and I said that, and it's really also something we put together in the mission of the Instagram. Actually, I want to have at least 1 million of people here, and that's a genuine. It's genuinely meant. I mean it. I know it sounds like a huge number, but I think it's possible, because people deserve that. People are struggling around the world, and I want to help. I want to be that person helping people to heal their trauma, because I know how it's been. I walked the path, and I know it's possible that you can find your light again. And sharing that and spreading the spark is a bit the mission in it all. And I hope Phoenix can help many, many more people around the world.
I believe it will.
For
I
me,
fully
this is
do.
the start. So that's on Phoenix. And then my podcast, I hope it's gonna be involved, and I can help more and more people also share their story, create more authenticity. I think that's it. Emotional connection and being real, raw, and authentic. That's something we in this world all lack a little bit and
Yeah,
need more.
I agree. I felt you. That's beautiful. Thank you. Well, I'm very excited to take that journey together with you and to keep building on top of that.
Thank you, Vincent. I'm grateful to have you.
Of course. I have two last questions for you. I think one I would like to ask you, I think this is funny to reflect on, but what are your favorite parts of in this entire journey of really having worked together? What are the moments that you deeply bring with you? And this doesn't have to be a particularly work-related thing. It's just how it went. I'm very curious to hear.
On a genuine personal level, first of all, I really like you as a person, but and that's the thing, when you're a creator and you work and you're online, it's a lonely journey sometimes. That's an entrepreneurial journey often, unless you have a small team. But there's a person I can call and say, oh my God, and that already is for me wonderful, because you're in it, we are together in this journey, and that is so beautiful, and we create new ideas. I think that's also a beautiful part of like, hey, how can we improve and make this better for people? Have a different take. You've seen for example, the content, the course, and you're like, okay, we could do this and that. So I value your input so much, and to make this the best platform there is for the trauma
Yeah.
niche. I think that is a really something that I enjoy, that you share that mission and vision with, and there's a huge difference. You have the people in mind.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. So if there's a lot of creators out there, actually, a lot of people in your position, actually before we started, who are like, okay, I have a platform here, I have something I can work on with, but I have no freaking clue what to do. What's one thing you would tell to them, whether it's not particularly only working with me in that sense, but in general, looking for help, trying to find the right support? What would you share with them?
Would their platform be starting, or are they in the middle of the journey?
It could be either. It's really people who are looking to also get support from an operator, or in that sense. What would you tell to them?
Find the first of all the right person. I think that's the most important thing for anything. That I would say, shop around sounds a bit terrible because it's still from human to human, but
Yeah,
interview people and go with your own intuition, what feels right. Someone who gets what you're doing and where you would like to go. I think putting this for yourself on paper a little bit, and then finding the person who can match that
that
and
energy.
over promise. I think that's another thing. Yeah, the energy is super important. I think that's why we work so well together, because we are really on the same energy, and you also care about your business so much, and I love that. I thought, oh
Thank
my
you.
God, he really cares so much, just like I do. And then that's two people who care.
That creates a really
It's,
amazing
yeah,
product
yeah,
community, definitely.
definitely. So that's something that I would always say. Look for someone who matches your energy, your mission, and is real and honest. I think that's what also I liked. You said, Caroline, wait a minute. This is maybe in 6 months, maybe in a year. So it's not like, oh, over promising, we do this all tomorrow. So someone
Yeah,
who's also really genuinely giving their expertise. I think that's something I would really advise. Don't go for something that sounds too good to be true in the beginning, and then you were disappointed. Someone who's real with you and be like, okay, I think we can do this, and let's try to find a way to make this happen.
definitely. And I think this is a really important point, because the truth is there are a lot of ways to build things, but at the end of the day, what we're building here is your business. And not just your business, your mission, your people. I believe that there are a lot of great people, just like myself, doing the best, who have a great solution. But I never want to believe that there's a guarantee in time frame or whatsoever, because there's so many factors we cannot control. But if there's one thing we can control, having a good mission, having a clear direction, taking the right actions, and making sure that we follow up with what we're promising each other. And if you do that, honestly, how can it not work? So
True.
awesome. Thank you so much. Before we end off, is there anything else you'd like to share? It could be your mission, anything of yourself with the world. I'd be happy to hear that.
Is there anything I would like to share? Good question. My mission is pretty clear. I want to help as many people there are out there, because I know there's a lot of suffering, to heal their traumas, to overcome things that hold them back in the past, to that sometimes looks like a limiting mindset can go even further into deeper mental health issues. I think for me, it's really, I would like to build a business together with you, that's long lasting, that's helping many, many people, and it's going to be around still. And that's, I know it sounds very, very crazy when I say it,
No,
but in
but it's very
10
true.
years' time, and people will say, yeah, that was a bit of a game changer in my life. I think
In
that
this
would be
space.
something that I would want to look back to and build something where people look into and say, like, this person, this business is, I know in the end it is a business, but it's about the person and the team. They
Yeah.
helped me change my life. I think that is what I would like to do. And I'm glad we can and share this mission together.
Thank you. And it really is true. It really aligns so well with mine, because at the end of the day, I always say this: please do this for good. Do this in the name of good. Help others. Don't do this out of the reason to for vanity, because at the end of the day, our lives are really short. I don't want to make it this crazy sentimental thing, but it's true. And I want to say thank you again, Caroline, for taking this moment to share this all with us, to share your experience, but also thank you for your trust. Thank you for also having me share this part of the journey with you. It's been a lot of fun, and it's going to get even more fun. So, yeah, that pretty much is it. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
And
Vincent,
we'll
for
speak to you
having me.
soon. Of course. All right. Ciao.
Bye.